So yeah, now I am a 17-year-old heartbroken biker. The bike had numbed the pain, but it was still there. I needed to get away, but where was I going to go? I've got a couple months left of high school before the year's done. I'm living at home with my parents. I've got a part-time job, but I don't have a lot of money. I couldn't see any way that any of that was going to change. I was going to spend my summer working part-time and reminiscing about the previous best summer I'd ever had. And then I learned of my brother Danny. He was about just shy of 3 years of my senior. He was a university student. The University of Windsor had a program where they were employing students from the university at various resorts across the country. So Danny and his fiance had applied to a place called Hell's Gate in British Columbia. It's right on the narrowest part of the Fraser Canyon, the Fraser River. I'll put a link to Hell's Gate in this video. You should have a look at it. Not the point of this story though. The point was, Danny was going out to British Columbia for the summer. Danny told me that there was probably opportunities for other employment there had I chose to come venture out and join him. Well, that was it. Again, despite only having a month or so of riding experience, despite having a $500 motorcycle, despite the bike only being 400 cc's, the plan's set. There's no changing it. I'm going. It might not have been a very well thought out plan, but nobody's talking me out of this one. It's meant to be. Otherwise, why would he have mentioned it? So I'm set. I've got my place to escape to. If I can go out there and work for the summer, who knows? Maybe by the end of summer when I get back to town, a little bit of distance might make someone's heart grow a little fonder. I can't deny that that wasn't in my mind too. School ends. I stand up at my brother Walter's wedding, and then I was apartment sitting for him for a week or so while he was enjoying his honeymoon. And the second he got back, I was packed and on my way, starting my journey. My dad's last attempt at dissuading me went something like, "What are you gonna do when you get to Thunder Bay and your chain falls off?" I don't know, put it back on, I guess. That didn't happen until Regina, but let's not get ahead of the story here. I get on my way. First day, I ride up to Mississauga and spend the night at my oldest brother Peter's place. So having made it 300 kilometers of my 4,600 kilometer journey, I'm feeling pretty confident. Day two, it's pouring rain out. Get on the bike, leaving Toronto, heading north and heading west. I've got my $5 Canadian Tire transparent, translucent rain gear on, so I'm fully prepared. I ride through Sudbury and Sault Ste. Marie, and then I hit one of the most beautiful stretches of highway in Canada, the northern shore of Lake Superior. Just stunning. I've looked at property up there since then. It was such a beautiful place. It made me forget how cold I was for a little while anyway. I rode until Nipigon, which was not quite Thunder Bay. That was far enough for day two. And I pulled into a little motel on the side of the road, and I was I'd been on the bike all day. I was frozen in the biking position. I crawled off my trusty steed, stuck in that position, my shield on my My visor on my helmet completely covered in bugs, can hardly see through it anymore. I unzipped my Canadian Tire raincoat and it fell off in 2 halves. The back had been flapping behind me for 1,000 kilometers. It just shredded like a tarp. I walked into the place and the person working there looked at me a little suspiciously. I think she was kind of wondering whether I was really human or not. But anyway, I got a room, got up on day 3. It was a much warmer, sunny day, but a lot less scenic. Don't get me wrong, the prairies are something to see, but when you're on a small CC bike and you're riding into a westerly wind that never lets up, and it's just flat and flat, and you see stuff off in the distance and it seems to stay there forever, it wears you down a bit. So I just kept my head down and rode for the day, grateful to be dry for a day, and made it to Regina. Now day 4 starts. I'm now 3,000 kilometers into my ride, but my dad's prophecy comes to rear its ugly head. My chain didn't fall off, but it's getting close. And the thing is, I said, I've been riding a few months. I have no idea how to tighten my chain. This is 1982. Again, there's no cell phones. There's no ATMs for that matter. Most people don't even carry credit cards. But there's phone booths, and I phone the only person I know that can help me. Phone my buddy Ken. My adjustable wrench in one hand. Ken, how do I tighten this chain? Well, Ken talked me through it. It was actually pretty easy. Couple bolts on the back of the sprockets and loosen things off, tightens things up and pulls the back wheel. And anyway, it's not that much harder than tightening the chain on your bicycle, except you don't have to flip it upside down to do it, and that would just mean a lot of gas lost on the ground anyway. Chain's tight. Disaster averted. I'm back on the road. It's another cold, rainy day. About 50 degrees out, 10 degrees Celsius, drizzling. I'm soaked. I don't have a raincoat anymore, so I'm just drenched and shivering. It's a boring ride until it's not. After I get through Calgary and I'm riding and shivering, I look up. I don't know what I'm seeing at first. It starts to take more and more shape. I realize it's not like weird cloud formations. I'm seeing the silhouette of the Rocky Mountains the first time ever. I think it's the first time I've ever seen mountains, to be honest. I started, like the hair was standing on my arms and my neck. I was getting goosebumps on top of the goosebumps I already had from shivering. Pictures don't do it justice. Describing it doesn't do it justice. You just have to see the Rockies. Incredible. And I kept riding and riding, and it takes so long to actually get to the mountains. You're going through the foothills, and eventually I finally get to Canmore and Banff. Kind of forgotten how cold and freezing I am as I pass through and get into the heart of the mountains, and now I'm looking up at the mountains. Sometime shortly after that, I realized there's one more thing I forgot. I forgot to stop and get gas. It's getting to be dusk out. I'm climbing these mountains, and they get to a peak, and then they come down the other side of the mountain and comes into a valley, and you see a few lights down there. I'm like, okay, hopefully there's a gas station down there. And you come down, and it's just like a little mining town on the side of the river that's snaking through there, and it's like the sidewalks have been rolled up already. There's nothing there. There's nowhere to stop. And this carries on, and I'm going up and down, and to the point where I get to the top of a peak, and I'd shut the bike off and I'd coast to the bottom because I didn't think I was going to make it up the next hill. I did this a few times. Finally, I get to the top of one of these peaks. I feel the bike start to sputter. I crest it and the thing dies. It's dark out now. I see the occasional glowing eyeballs in the forest around the highway. The animals love to come out at dusk. Now I've got no gas and I'm rolling. I'm thinking when I get to the bottom of this hill, that's it. This is where I'm spending the night. And in the morning, I'm gonna have to get up and hitchhike, leave the bike there, try not to get eaten by a bear. I don't know. I'm feeling pretty depressed at this point. I'm rolling down this. There's a long descent down. It's winding. It's getting to be less and less of a degree going down. I'm getting to where I'm starting to slow down, and I know I don't have much further to go. The road banks around to the right, and as I bank around this, what I think is probably the last curve I'm going to be pulling off, I start to see a glow in the sky as I'm coming around the curve, and then as I make it around the bend, there's a sign. Not a sign from God, a sign from the municipality of Golden, BC. Welcome to Golden. Just past that sign is a gas station, and I roll right into the gas station, right up to the pump. Can't believe it. I'm elated to have made it there. Fill up the bike, fire it back up, go about another 100 feet because there's a motel there. I park it for the night and have the best sleep I've had in days. I get up in the morning and it's beautiful, sunny. It's like yesterday never happened. It's a new day. I've only got 580 kilometers to go, something like that. I don't know, because I didn't bring a map with me. I just followed the Trans-Canada and you'll get to Hell's Gate. Who needs a map, right? There's no GPS or anything like that. And that's why I didn't know if I was close to a town or anything when I rolled into Golden. So I was pretty happy to end up there. But day 5, I'm cruising through probably the best day now. It's sunny out. I'm whipping through mountains. The view is stunning. That's probably what led to a brief loss of focus. Kind of riding into the face of a mountain as the road curves away and then back out, kind of like an S curve. So I'm heading in towards the mountain and I'm going too fast. I don't realize how sharp of a curve it is, and so I make the curve, and I'm making the curve, but I can't stay on my side of the road. I'm leaning, but it's too much speed into the curve, and I cross the yellow line. I'm just crossing the yellow line. I'm fighting to get back in my lane, and as I'm doing this, coming around the other curve is a tour bus. I just squeaked back into my lane and he went by. We carried on our ways, but whoa, what a wake-up call that was. Here I am, I'm hours away from my destination, and that's usually when these kind of things happen, and I just about buy it. I didn't. I carried on, learned a good lesson there, stayed focused the rest of the ride. Sometime around supper time, I came cruising past the parking lot to Hell's Gate, where the air tram is that crosses the Fraser Canyon. And I passed through 2 short tunnels that are in the side of the mountain and come out the second one, and there's the cabin, the residence that my brother and the rest of the Hell's Gate staff are staying at for the summer. I made it to my destination. I made it the 4,600 kilometers on my $500 400cc motorcycle. The only human interaction I had in those 5 days really was somewhere in Alberta. I was cruising along. This gang of motorcyclists, bikers on their 750s, surrounded me, and they're pointing me off the road. Pull over, there's a diner up ahead. Pull in there. I'm like, oh, what's going on here? They had fishing rods hanging off the back of their bikes and stuff like that. I pulled in, they followed me in. These guys saw my license plate, my Ontario plate, They saw my little bike and they thought anyone brave enough to cross the country on a little bike like that deserves to be bought a coffee. And they wanted to sit and have a chat with me. They were coming back from a fishing trip. They wanted to find out if I was crazy or not, I guess. Nicest guys, you meet some of the nicest people on the road on a bike out west. Anyway, that was it for my interactions with people, but I'm at my destination. I learned, again, in hindsight, just how insane of a plan that was for me to do what I did and ride across the country and take it for granted that everything would be just fine. Thank God I did it. I would never give it up, but by the grace of God, I made it there. I also learned later that summer just how lucky I was to have made it out there without any issues. The plan was to apply for a job there. I'm having so much fun. Why do I want to ruin this with work? They asked me, "You bought that bike for $500? I'm like, yeah. They're like, "Man, that thing would cost you like at least double that out here." And this little thing goes off in my head. It's like, really? I got time still. I could go back to Windsor, buy a bigger bike, come back out here and sell that for double. I wouldn't have to work and I'd be on an adventure. But at the end of the summer, I'd be rich.